To Plantish Live. I'm Nina Curtis. You are in the right place. It is Monday, but Chef Sesavec and I are going live today. It's a special Monday edition. We will return to our regularly scheduled program next week, but you are in the right house at the right time. So come on in. Please drop in the chat where you're joining in from. We are excited for thing all the time, because that gets very complacent and we don't do that over here. So welcome in. Please drop where you are joining in from. And we have a very special guest joining us all the way from Antigua today, and a dear friend of mine for many, many years. And we can't wait to introduce him to you. He has opened the first minimal waste plant-based cafe in Antigua. He is from there, and we know what we do, fam, in the plantish community. Come on in, show the love. Chef Jermaine Jonas is going to be joining us. He is the owner of Busshbungalow, and I can't wait for you to hear his story, ask him questions. You've joined us at the table, and let's see how, this Instagram wants to play out with us, because Chef, I'm welcoming you in. Chef Jermaine, I see you. We are going to bring you in. So let's go, fam. I see you. And we'll see what it do. In the meantime, please share in the chat where you are joining from. Typically we go live, you know this, and I am trying to figure out how you all get your energy. Hello, Chef Jermaine. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you, Chef?
It's Monday, so I had to come out of the chute, because usually Monday is my day to see if I want to show up. But here we
I,
are. I'm going to
I,
show up and show out.
I appreciate you having me.
We're just bringing Chef Sesavec in 1 second, because Instagram likes to do what it does, and we don't get worried about it. Welcome, everyone. There's Chef.
How are you, Chef?
Oh,
Welcome.
very well, Chef. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good, thank you.
Very good.
So, fam, please share where you are joining in from. We are speaking with, to me, the chef of chefs. I have known Chef Jermaine it's been over 8 years. I was
Correct.
going back to just, all we know, and you've traveled the world. Chef Sesavec has been here with me, my co-host. We rock and roll. Chef, I am off a little bit. It's Monday. And I'm trying to figure, I can't say taco. I could say Taco Tuesday. I'm going to say Taco Tuesday. What kind of taco are you eating? But we're thrilled to have you, Chef Jermaine. And we're going to get into this conversation because we know you're busy. Thank you for making time to join us from Antigua. How's the weather out there?
Well, it's been raining. There was
Oh,
a storm that just finished as soon as the live started. So I'm really happy for that.
well, the sky gods are like, calm it down. We got to
Yeah,
get this on, because we can have no interference. So
yeah.
thank you. Can you, Chef? I mean, I know a lot of people know you, but for those of us that are joining in and are new to Busshbungalow, can you tell us what Busshbungalow is? But also tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today, opening the first minimal waste plant-based cafe in Antigua.
Sure. So Bush Bungalow is a concept that I came up with, and it was I would say it was heavily influenced by the idea of using local and regional produce. And the reason for that is number one, keeping the money in the local economy, because in the Caribbean, most of our GDP is spent on food imports. And you can see a correlation between the increase in the consumption of imported food and non-communicable diseases. So I'm talking about things like hypertension, diabetes, all of that. There's a direct correlation from consuming these foods. And lastly, it's also to have, I would say, a type of representation. Um, you know, we're talking about food as an act of resistance, because we have a situation here where most people in the Caribbean are forsaking their own food in lieu of imported foods, because in their minds that it's somehow better just because it's imported. So the idea of just using focus on local and regional cuisine and regional produce kind of came from that. And of course, that eco-friendly aspect. I just kind of took all the things that I was really passionate about and just combined it into this concept. Yeah.
And I understand that where your Bush Bungalow space is, that's like 3 generations
Correct.
that
So
you've been there or your
yeah,
family has been there.
my family has been there. My my family, my grandparents were some of the first entrepreneurs on the island, and also in our village as well, the village of Freeman's Village, which is the most central village in Antigua and one of the first free villages after slavery. And I have a lot of really good core memories here, and I wanted to be able to, I would say, kind of revive that spirit of entrepreneurship that I saw from my grandparents. And even as a child, the sense of pride that I felt coming there and seeing them, they have their shop and people are coming to the shop. I was very prideful, even though I was probably like 5 or 4 years old at the time. So that spirit of entrepreneurship is what I want to bring back to the space, as well as building community. Being able to let the people in my community as well have access to all of the great food. Because it's very easy. I've traveled all over the world, and I've cooked for a lot of different people, but nothing gives me the satisfaction as much as being back in my country, being able to have my.
That's beautiful. You and Chef Sesabek have something in common as far as 3 generations. Chef Sesabek is vegan since birth, and his grandparents were vegans. And so, there's that commonality of just the generational, I say, gene and spirit that are in both of you that is so beautiful to me. And Chef Sesabek and I have already talked about wanting to come and visit you. Like, do
Yes,
you take
yes,
interns? Can
yeah.
we come and work for our keep? What can we do?
And I guess it's a testament to the work that I do. But my space is a very very small space. I live in a very tiny, modest home, and what I do, I try to create things that are just kind of a little accessible to people, and also not too much on myself.
Yeah.
So I do these most of the time. We do this lunch service where we create these bowls, and because we know that the bowl is something that some people might consider, it's rather simplistic. But what I try to do with the bowls is that we're packing lots of flavors into the bowls, and each component you're getting, you're going on a totally different journey.
I love that. I'm going to get hungry. I can already tell. And I know you've traveled the world from not just the United States, but globally. What have been the main things that you've picked up? I think as chefs, when we travel and we go in and out of different places, we always pick up something that we can bring back home with us, wherever home may be. What would you say are some of the key things that you've been able to bring home to add to what you already do in Antigua?
Well, I would say, of course, definitely there's lots of food, especially when I went to Southeast when I was living in Southeast Asia. There's a lot of food there that is very similar to the Caribbean, because a lot of the foods here were introduced, by the English as food sources for slaves here. So, for example, you had things like breadfruit, which was brought from the Pacific, OT apple, there's a lot of different fruits and vegetables that were actually brought to the Caribbean from the Pacific, specifically because they had the same climate, that they would be able to grow here. But I would say the most important thing for me that I've learned from my travels is that there's a totally different mindset in other parts of the world than in the US. There's not so much the focus on the individual, but a team concept. And for me, I think that's just everything for me. The idea of you know winning as a team, losing as a team, instead of the focus on just the individual. And that's what I like to tell people now. Like, I know that I'm a pioneer in what I'm doing right now, but it's something not just for myself, but it's something that I want to see happen in other islands and other food enterprises taking it up. I want to see minimal waste practices in from the big corporations as well.
Yeah, the last time we spoke, I'm thinking back like 2021, we are on another platform. I won't name it, but the community
Yeah,
was in there and everyone was like looking up flights to come and see you.
come to the
How
Caribbean. Yes.
does your program work on the daily? And then do you still offer like retreats? I don't know if that's the right word to use at time
So
from time to time.
So what's happening now is that now I operate 3 days a week, and the reason being is because we're in the middle of what we consider the off season. The peak season begins from December till May of next year, so that's when we'll be open at least 6 days a week, and that's when we'll start planning for our retreats, etc. We do have some people. We have been in contact with some people from the UK as well who have been here recently, who's bringing a group here. But we're more than willing and open to having people come here and just see what's happening. Like really get a true insight to how it is. Living in the Caribbean is a totally different experience than living in the US or living in Europe, and you might not have as much access as you do in those places, but the peace of mind that you get, and just the gentleness on your nervous system is just it's priceless. I live on a
Okay.
street. Yeah, I live on a street right now that I can, if I'm ever hungry, there's guava trees outside. There's mangoes, there's breadfruit, there's coconuts. There's every imaginable thing that you can think about. And it's like, well, if we were somewhere else, we'd be paying for these things. There's so much abundance. There's kinnips, there's pigeon peas. I go walking in the morning and I at least come home with some type of snack in my hand, just from walking in the neighborhood. So it's different, and it's a lot of hard work. I don't want people to think that it's somehow that it's a easier life. It's not an easier life. You probably work harder than you do in the US because things are not ready made here. But the satisfaction that you get, after you put that work in, just there's no way you can describe it.
And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember from our conversations, you're right next door to a farm or you're on farm land. Is that
So
correct?
so so I actually, when I first started operating in 2022, I was actually on a farm. I had my restaurant on a farm, and I don't remember if we had spoken about this or not, but I had an accident that
Yeah.
caused me to close the business for a while. And after I got better, I had an opportunity to go to Indonesia, which I took. I was supposed to be in Indonesia for about 6 months, and I ended up staying about a year and a half in total. And what I noticed in Indonesia is that a lot of the development is not just focused on the coastal areas. There's a lot of like hotels and restaurants that are like inland or even deep inside the jungles, and that gave me the inspiration to actually take my own land, because I was like, well, you know I have this big piece of land that I can develop myself and turn it into the space that I want to turn it into. And so I came back home, and I've just been doing lots of landscaping, lots of planting, especially right now because it's raining. So lots of coconut trees are going in the ground, lots of flowers for the front yard, and the intention is to create a hub where, it's like, I guess you would say, very a sensory experience. So there will be lots of things to taste, lots of things to smell, lots of things to see. It's going to be like a little oasis. So
What are
that
you thinking?
that feeds into the name, the whole idea of the bush bungalow. Because for me, the idea, when I came up with that name, the idea of the bush bungalow was supposed to be something that was like eco luxury. You're in nature. You're in nature, but there's also a luxurious component to it.
What are you thinking, Chef Sesabek? I see you over there. I can see you already transported yourself.
Chef, chef,
Absolutely.
are you here, chef? You here ready? Should I pick you
No,
up? Pick you up?
yes, in my mind, I'm at the airport. Yeah, and I'm looking at flights in my mind. I'm like, okay, what dates work? Oh my goodness, this conversation is so nourishing. I haven't even had the pleasure of tasting your food yet, but I just know that it's just so amazing. And
Thank you.
yeah, you're so intentional. And I'm just digesting everything that you're
Yeah,
saying, from, being on ancestral land to, your protocols and the things that you do. It's amazing. And wow, I can't wait to book that flight.
yeah. Yeah, it would be really amazing for you guys to come here.
Yes.
I work with a lot of the farmers, a lot of people at the market. So most of my time is spent sourcing, lots of sourcing, because I think another thing that people don't realize is that if you're designing a menu that's completely local and regional, certain times of the year you're just not going to get certain foods. You know, no, it's summertime for us, so it's still very hot. We've been getting a lot of rain recently, so now is the time that the farmers are actually putting the food into the ground right now. So for instance, okay, you might get your favorite, you might get a salad this week, and you're like, oh, I want to have that salad again next week, but it's just not available. And I think people, yes, they understand that it's local. Yeah, they love the idea that it's local, but they also do not grasp the fact that you're not always going to be able to get what you want when you want it. You know, so there's a lot of that that I have to navigate. So I spend a lot of my time like sourcing ingredients, even sometimes like even days before. You know?
Yeah. It humbles us, especially I think I know as Americans, because we have Conscious Key saying enjoying the fruits of your labor. That's her vibe. And Planted Foods here in Sacramento, Plantish community trip. You already know that
That'd
would
be
be
awesome.
awesome. That would be
Definitely.
awesome. But you're right, Chef. We are so conditioned and have comforts that we don't recognize. And when something, is out, I know when I go to the farmer's market and I'm going there to get something I need for my menu and they don't have it, I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah. We'll
why
have
don't
it.
you have
Yeah.
it? Because the
Yeah.
harvest, the weather, something happened, the bobcats ate my, fava beans after I waited to harvest in the Santa Monica Mountains. And I just had to say, they got to it before me. I should have been on my game. But we're
Yeah.
not used to that. But at the same time, I think it's such an opportunity for us to come somewhere and visit your place and let go. It's almost like peeling the onion. It probably takes a day or two to just get acclimated, right?
Yes, 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 yes. Even, we have iguanas sometimes. The iguanas are eating the plants, and whatever it is. It's very humbling. It is very humbling, and it is a way to let go, because it's life, It's like it's life. It's just like I was about to get on the live, and I was like, wow, it's like the storm. We would have not heard each other if the rain was still coming, you know or maybe the internet would have went down because it was raining too much. But at the flip side, I like to say that anything that's magic is gonna come with a price.
And see, the magic on Plantish, it stopped any interruption. When we get off, it will probably start
But it,
storming in your area, if
it
not
is,
even in ours.
yeah,
I love that, fam. If you're just coming in, we are speaking with the incomparable Chef Jermaine Jonas of Bush Bungalows. He is in Antigua, joining us direct. I have known him for years. He has Bush Bungalow Creations. We are just talking about life in Antigua. He offers when he gets into December through May, he said, he will be doing retreats. If you are interested in that, if you haven't followed him yet, please do so. Chef Sesabek and I, the wheels are already turning about a Plantish retreat there. We have October 22nd is our annual that we started on Instagram with Plantish. So where does time go? But we're just loving this. If you have any questions for Chef, or you just have anything to share with him, if you're just dropping a thought, I know it's Monday. I know it's Monday. We are all going, what is happening? Why is Plantish on live Monday? We will resume regularly programmed our schedule next Tuesday. But this was so special to me that when Chef said, I can make a Monday, I said, we'll do it. We'll
And
do it because
and
we know your time.
I want to say thank you because I'm in service on Tuesdays,
Yes.
so I definitely would have not been able to do it on Tuesday. So
And we understand service.
thank you for rearranging for me, Chef.
You know what? When I know someone as long as I've known you, that's going to happen. So tell us what, right now, when you're in service, what does the menu look like? What are you serving and who's coming? And you know, if I wanted that bowl that I had last week and it's not there this week, how do you calm the savage beast?
Yeah, so again, it's the menu is driven based on seasonality and availability. So, for instance, I can tell you off the top of my head what we have on tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think we're doing like a stir-fried farro with some lemon basil or some sweet basil, some courgette, maybe a little local carrot. You know, any type of vegetable that we're able to source. And we have some black beans with some fresh coriander, and there is I think there's a citrus and beet salad with white sesame seeds, and it's rounded off with I do a sweet and savory roasted plantain. So that's a favorite of mine. Like it has like salt and pepper and garlic and sugar, and you put it in the oven and you roast it off, and it kind of caramelizes. So you have that contrast of flavor in the plantain. That's really really delicious. And then for dessert, I think we're doing like a lime and gingerbread, and again, it's all it's all driven by the availability. So I already went to the market this morning because I knew I had to get on live with you guys this morning. So I went to the market early this morning, and I'm looking for local carrots, and they're out of local carrots. I have the zucchini that I'm using in the farro, so I'm not gonna double it in the menu. So I'm like, okay, well, she has limes and she has ginger, so we have lime and ginger muffins.
So
For
you're
drink.
really just in time. When we say just in time, you have to
Yeah,
wake up and it's not like you can set your menu,
there.
like
Yeah,
most
you
restaurants
can't.
do a
Yeah,
month out. You have to be creative
very,
on
very.
the
Yeah,
spin,
yeah.
the pivot.
It keeps you on your feet. It keeps you sharp.
Yeah.
Keeps you sharp. And then for the drink, we're doing watermelon and mint. And simple menu. There's no choices. Just because I run the whole operation by myself, I make the food. I host the people. And I'm the one that's doing the cleanup and the reset after. So usually my days start at like maybe from 5 in the morning till about 7 in the evening.
Okay.
Between preparing food, hosting, cleaning, and the reset. Just like in a formal kitchen. But
Yeah.
I'm the one doing it all.
I love that. Elijah Joy, exactly, exactly the best type of gigs that you just get in there and have to be creative because we're really artists while we have to run a business and have all the parameters that takes in running a business. Where do you get your daily inspiration from?
I would say it's less inspiration and more just discipline.
Okay.
There's lots and lots of discipline, and through that discipline, the inspiration comes. you know, yeah, I think the discipline gives the inspiration. Because some days I get up and I'm tired and I don't always want to, but I know I have to. No one else is gonna do it for me, so I gotta get up and do it for myself.
Yeah, when you're the owner, there's nobody else to lean on. So you are the dishwasher, the chef, the supplier. There's so many things. And when you talk about discipline, that is really a muscle that all of us have to build because you can have the inspiration, but if you're not feeling it because you pulled a 16-hour shift, you've
It's
got to be
true.
able to pull from something else. That's for any of us, no matter
Yeah,
what we do in life, right?
yeah. And also, I think that what I do like as well is that people are coming into my home, so they don't just feel like they're customers; they feel like they're guests in my home. We also offer a level of hospitality that I think it's refreshing for them that it's coming from from this source, because you're coming into someone's home. It's a tiny home in the country, and you don't know exactly what you're gonna. You don't know what the expectation is gonna be. But we have the food, which is really on point. That's, the chef said, like really thoughtful, like really thoughtful. It's not just food that's just like put together. There's a lot of intention behind it. And then you have that hospitality aspect as well, where you're coming into my home and you're feeling like a guest. I'm going to make sure you're properly fed, you're taken care of. We have our strategy games here that we have. Sometimes people come, they sit, they play chess, or we play worry. There's music playing, and the diversity of the crowd of people that you get as well is really, really amazing. So you get some people who are involved in government, you have people who are in television, people who are farmers, people who are artists, just regular working people. You have tourists who will come specifically because they've heard about the space. We like to say that some of the best plant-based food in the world is served on tiny island Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda. So our slogan for Antigua and Barbuda is "The beach is just the beginning." Um, Agro-tourism is one of the main draws for people all over the world. So we really try to tap into that to say, yeah, come to Antigua, experience plant-based cuisine that's soy-free, a lot of gluten-free options, and there's no fake meats, there's none of that stuff. You're actually getting real food that is actually picked from trees or picked from.
That's beautiful. I know you're so humble, Chef, because you've led huge operations around the world. Where has been your favorite operation outside of Antigua? What has been the project that you say, wow, I
I
did that?
definitely, my time in Indonesia was the best.
In
Yeah,
where?
in Indonesia and Bali.
Oh,
It was
Indonesia. Yes.
Yeah, it was it was not only the inspiration that I received. It was just like it was very healing for me. It was very, very healing for me. It was something that I felt like it was just the perfect scenario for me at that time. And connecting with the people there, and also just, as I said, that's where I got the inspiration to actually,
Yeah.
develop my own property. So I would definitely say Indonesia. There's hands down, there's no doubt about it. Like, in terms of all those different things, there have been places where I've been where, just on a culinary level, for example, surprisingly, Russia was a big surprise for me when I went there, because it's such a big country that there's so much produce. You'd be amazed at the variety of produce that you'll get there. Like, because it's literally stretching from Alaska all the way into China. So you can imagine the variety of different produce that you would find there, like in the markets there. But overall, Indonesia. From a culinary perspective, I would definitely say just Russia, but overall Indonesia.
And how many guests can you serve at one time? I mean, we're all like looking online for flights right now. We don't want to
Yeah.
have a rainfall on you.
Well, what I do is, what I do for right now, I will serve up to like about 25 persons
Oh,
a
that's
day.
a lot.
Yeah, and that would be like my hard
Stop.
like my hard cap. Yeah, as soon as I get there, I don't take any more.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I
And
say, yeah,
and
I
you
think up to 25 persons.
okay, I thought you were gonna say something like six, seven, 10.
Oh
That's
no, oh
that's
no,
enough. That's a lot of people.
yeah, yeah. And then I also do a brunch on Sundays. So usually
Uh,
what I do for lunch I ask everyone to pre-order. So that kind of ties into my whole minimal waste aspect in terms of not wasting any food.
yeah.
So I pre-order, everyone pre-orders, and then I'm able to tell you and to forecast exactly how many meals I'm making for the day. Some people will just come and have it picked up. Some people will come and sit. We do have alfresco dining outside that you can sit and eat if you'd like. Um, and then on Sundays it's brunch, and brunch is usually, it's not like heavy food, so I do a lot of like sweet potato crust pizzas and tarts and stuff like that. And again, back to the sweet potato crust pizza. It's here mostly the sweet potato is only used in sweet as a sweet dish. So again, using the local ingredients, but just being creative with it and just creating something like a savory dish with it that's like totally unexpected for people.
If someone wants to come and, have a retreat, let's see, Elijah Joy, why am I in America again? Right. Yeah, why? But you have the opportunity and somewhere to go and someone you know. So that will lead me into the question, Chef. If someone does want to set up a retreat, how does that work? Where do people stay? And then
So
how
so
do we set that up?
you would need to book into I would say it depends on the number of people, either an Airbnb or a hotel, and then we can as far as accommodations, and then we can go from there in terms of the dining experience. I really look forward to like taking people to the different farms and getting their hands dirty. We're actually seeing where the food comes from. Because a lot of people in the U.S., yeah, they might know, but they don't really know. Even and I'll say even for myself, I've been doing a lot of my own landscaping, and it's been like an educational process for me. Because as much as I'm a chef, I'm not a farmer.
Yeah.
So I've been getting a lot of information and learning to do a lot of things like propagating fruit trees so you can get the trees faster. Knowing when's the best time to plant and when's the best time to reap your fruit. So it's been an interesting learning process for me as well.
Farming is a whole different beast. We
Yeah,
again take for granted, even chefs a lot of times that, don't have that connection with a farmer,
yeah.
that what it takes. But the farmer, if we don't have the farmers, we don't have the food.
Those,
And, we can only be as good as the produce we're getting from the farmer.
yeah. And another thing about the whole produce, our produce here, because our soil here is still very rich. So the produce that we get here is amazing, amazing, like nutrient dense produce. You don't have to adulterate it too much. You don't have to do too much to it at all. All you need to do is just be gentle with it and be mindful with it. You have some of the most amazing food, honestly. Yeah, and it's just again the soil, you know, the vegetables, fruits and vegetables get their nutrients from soil. If the soil is no good, then the food doesn't have any nutrients. And I think um, that's a big thing in the U.S. because we are consuming a lot of food, but we're not really getting as much nutrients as we're supposed to. That's why we're still taking all of these supplements, and that's why we still have to increase the volume of these foods that we're eating here. And you can taste it. You can taste it. You can taste the difference with the food here. You can taste the electricity in the food. You can taste the vibrance in the food. You can eat it raw. A lot of the food it's just so delicious, so bursting with flavors.
Yeah. Chef, do you see any comments? I know I've been trying to keep up with them, but
For sure. I'm being transported to Antigua. Oh my goodness. So let's see. From Elijah Joy, do you work in adjacent islands, St. Lucia? I love it there too.
Saint Lucia. So for now, I'm based in Antigua. I would love an opportunity to do more work in the other countries as well because I'm hoping this is a concept that people can take on in other countries as well too. It's as I said, it's not something that I want to just keep for myself. If people, hey, I like what you're doing, and you say, okay, I'm gonna do this in another country, I'm gonna be your biggest supporter.
Okay,
what
beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's see, we have farmers are friends from Elijah Joy as well. Vegan as a mother, organic